2 weeks after completing the 2023 Pine to Palm 100 miler, we sat down to chat about Steve's experience. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. I'm fine, feeling fine. I think it went pretty well. We were lucky that the race took place at all. There's been a lot of smoke in the area the weeks before, but some rain came through a few days prior to the race, cleaned it all up, cleaned all the wildfires up, and left quite a cool course, and by their standards not too dusty. I thought it was quite dusty, but it wasn't too hot, mid-20s. I think they said last year it being 105 Fahrenheit, which is 41.6 Celsius, I think I looked up, so that would have been unmanageable, I think. But this was hot but manageable with the ice and so on. So yeah, I think no major dramas. Got a little bit dodgy stomach in the middle. I think would have been better if some of the savoury food they had started earlier when it was hot. It seemed to start at halfway, by which time it was evening anyway. But I think once I got the savoury stuff in me, then that was a lot better. And then towards the end it was just, I think, a lack of conditioning. I went into the race having missed some training through injury. Injury miraculously cleared up at the last minute and didn't bother me at all, which was brilliant, but it meant my knees and feet weren't quite ready for it, so they did hurt a bit towards the last, let's say, 20 miles.
And what were the good things about the race? What did you particularly enjoy?
I think I never thought I'd take advice from David Brent, but it's the people that make the race, I think. And actually in this case that was definitely true. I think the other competitors were so nice and welcoming, supportive, and the volunteers were incredible. Definitely the best I've had in any race, and they couldn't do enough for you. And you know, when I said I was hot, when I was feeling it a bit, they would laugh, because for them it wasn't hot at all. But once they realised, oh, he's British, and I explained we'd had the worst summer ever and my heat training had been terrible, then they clicked into gear, and suddenly there's one shoving ice down your arm sleeves, one with ice bandana. I had ice in my hat at one point, and those things really, I found out, did make a difference. I never tried that before, never really had to, but they do make a big difference, and that did really help me get through. And the cooking of things, they would just cook up pretty much. I mean, because people came so spaced out in the night that they were pretty much cooking to order, because you get to a checkpoint, by the time you left no one else had turned up in some of them. So they were just like, what do you want? And then you go, oh, I feel a bit bad about taking 4 of those. And they're like, no problem, I just make more, no problem. They got time. There were so few people in the race. It's not like a UTMB thing where there's 10 people a minute appearing demanding food. So it was pretty chilled like that, and but they were just so kind, and did have some funny moments. One of them said I sounded like Ed Sheeran. Can you please sing me a song? Some of them thought that you were Texan.
Yeah, they said it was a nice Texan accent. But then I had a very nice chat with them about various things like the Cape Wrath Ultra. You mentioned the checkpoints and the volunteers. What was the spacing like in terms of checkpoints?
Yeah, I thought it was okay, actually. It was good. I think last time I did 100, we almost, because we were free to do whatever we wanted, we almost had too many, and I spent too much time stopped because I could. Here, I think the checkpoint was generally spacing like 7 to 10 miles, and I thought that was fine. It was fine. I think there was one 10-mile section, 80 to 90, did take me 3 hours 51, so that was a reasonable drag between checkpoints, but it was okay. It was cooler then, so it wasn't so much of an issue.
And the race instructions were very clear on which ones were allowed crew, and then I think very confident that you were being well looked after when they weren't crew.
Yeah, I think you definitely could have done it without crew. There were drop bags that we didn't even take advantage of. We didn't use at all, but how many were there? Like 5 or 6, I think?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
And I think the other thing is, you raised there, is that the race instructions, they were issued last December, 9 months before the race, and they didn't change. So it's like you weren't waiting last minute for information other than whether the race was going ahead at all, because there was some doubt on that. But that obviously can't be known very far ahead. But everything else, it was all decided, all planned, and it didn't change. So you had plenty of time to plan and sort yourself out. And I, as an obsessive, I kind of appreciate that level of detail in advance.
And the number of competitors was was somewhat smaller than you might expect in terms of the race field. So
Yeah,
you
definitely.
spent quite a lot of time on your own.
Definitely smaller than most British races. So I think there were 86. They have a race limit of 300 and something, but that's basically academic, it seems. They had 86 entries, 70 starters, and 41 finishers. So it was a small field. I was quite worried that you're going to just be hours on your own. I suppose in the night I kind of was to some degree, but I also had chats with people. I hiked up a hill for a long time with one guy, Josh, and so you did see people. Obviously, the further you went, the fewer there were, of course.
And what was special about Josh that might
Yeah.
surprise people in terms of how much running you do on a 100-mile endurance run?
Yeah, so I mean, it was quite a fairly runnable course, apart from one kind of 7 or 8 mile section that was a bit more technical. But other than that, it was generally fairly runnable course. A lot of wide open gravel roads. Josh, who was a local, he hiked the entire thing. He passed me on the first climb, and then I decided to stick with him, chatting about kind of fell running and the running scene in the UK and things like that. And I realised my heart rate was going very, very high because he was a good hiker. He actually finished 40 minutes behind me, so I think 28:45, something like that.
Yeah, under 29.
Under 29, and he was ahead of me till 90 miles. And well, we yo-yoed a bit, but yeah, he was ahead of me at 90 miles, and he didn't run a single step. Very impressive, and just shows what can be done. You can walk 100 miles in under 29 hours with 6,000 whatever meters of ascent.
So obviously, us coming from Britain, going out to America for this type of event, animals on the course are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
There was a lot of concern, I guess, about bears and cougars. What were your animal experiences during the event?
Yeah, I wasn't so worried about the bears, to be honest. I've kind of seen bears before. They tend to run away. They're only black bears down there, so it's not too bad. They're not grizzlies or polar bears, but obviously. But the mounted lions, they're pretty scarce, but they can be a bit more of a problem, especially in the dark. They're used to the dark, and I'm not. So it was a bit of a concern, and I will confess, on the PCT section especially, not so much on the big wide. You feel more immune on the big wide gravel roads, but on the PCT section at night, I was scanning the rocks above and the glades below, and you did see a lot of deer in the night, which did scare you a bit when you're like, what are those eyes down there? And it get a bit tiring doing that for hour after hour. But no, nobody saw any bears, nobody saw any cougars. Scorpions, however, I've never seen scorpion in the wild, and I saw, I think, about 12 of them. I got some on video. They're on the road, they just stayed still, they were no problem. But the lady in front of me got stung by a bee, somebody else got stung by a bee, and then a guy just behind me got bitten by yellow jackets, which I've also mentioned in the video. And I think, well, it sounded like the next day somebody had dropped out because of yellow jackets, so that's really unfortunate. They sound quite nasty. So had some near misses, but no problems, thankfully.
And in terms of firsts for this event, first time you didn't have a pacer?
No.
Well, apart from a very small section at the end.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
What about the kind of pacer experience, and then obviously the famous ice bandana?
Yeah, a lot of firsts for trail mix. I think I filmed the first ice bandana and then managed to fail to get the ice bandana in shot. Sorry, I forgot I was on my phone, not GoPro. Didn't hold it far enough away from me, but the ice bandana was definitely a first. Pacers, not actually, I don't think that many people had them. It was probably a quarter of the field, a third of the field. It wasn't like everybody had a pacer
No.
apart from me. So that was interesting, but it was kind of good because when you came across runners with pacers, their pacers were all full of energy.
Yep.
And they would like go, yeah, and encourage you on.
And obviously for your first 100-mile event, you chose to take on someone who's known for doing 100-mile events. Any celebrities on the course?
Yeah, so not only, I guess I didn't say in the actual film, but the race director, Hal Kerner, is well known for having won Western States twice, Hard Rock as well.
Yep.
FKT on John Muir, etc. So yeah, he definitely he knows what you're dealing with. Quite soon after I entered, Georgina pointed out to me that one of the entrants, I think there were only 20 or something at the time, was Mr. Carl Meltzer, the Speedgo, the most winningest 100-miler ever. and he actually was behind me for quite a while. I was really shocked to find. I came down quite a steep technical descent, about mile 40, and I was taking it easy, knowing there were a lot of ascents. There's going to be a lot of ascent coming. Still just cruising, not pushing at all. And I heard someone coming behind me quickly, so I glanced behind, moved over, and there he was, the man himself, top to toe in Hoka. And he said thanks and shot off, and I never saw him again. But it was quite cool being overtaken by the speedgoat whilst wearing speedgoats. So that's probably never going to happen again.
What did you get when you crossed the finish line?
Yeah, so there was quite a lot of stash, let's call it, freebies from the race. Well, not freebies, but we got quite a lot of stuff at the registration. So we should probably go through that first. So shirt, rabbit shirt.
Yep, rabbit t-shirt.
Very nice, quite I guess premium shirt. Not just a cheap normal shirt. It was quite a nice shirt. Got a nice cup, bandana, sticker, keyring. And then after the race, got a load more stuff. I mean, obviously we knew about the buckle, and I really wanted a buckle because yeah, I don't get them normally in Europe, so my first buckle, so I was really pleased about that. But I wasn't expecting, well, I suppose I should talk about the buckle first. I've got it here, and we'll show a zoom in of this as well. But I've got my belt buckle, and it is actually a genuine belt buckle, so you can wear it if you have a suitable belt. But I think it's pretty nice. It's a pretty cool thing to have, and I'm quite pleased with that. And then what I wasn't expecting was you also got a medal, and crikey, what a medal. Absolutely stunning. It's 4 layers of wood glued together, painted, and some of it's a bit milled as well. So quite a nice piece of work. Definitely something special, or a treasure, and wholly unexpected, which I think makes it even better. And then apart from that, we have the finisher's hoodie. I don't know who this is made by, but it's really nice. It's quite comfy, stretchy, and yeah, has the palm on the back.
Yep. Elevation, just in case you forget.
And then a random thermos coffee mug.
Yep.
And
another
a finisher's sticker, a big sticker. And was that it?
I think that was it.
Yeah, there's probably something we've forgotten, but we'll show all of that. So quite a lot of stuff. I think that probably leads us into differences between this race and European races. We've talked about the small number in the field, the volunteers, the food. There was a lot of grilled cheese. Quesadillas were amazing. Broth, like beef ramen at one point. I had beef ramen or chicken noodles. I was like, I can't choose. It was great, so I think that was good. I think there was a lot of I think they haven't quite caught on with the current recent European trends, or certainly the British trends of coupleless events, trees not teas, kind of cutting down on giving people things that they might want but they might not. And although none of the stuff is dated, so they can use it all next year if they didn't have that many finishes. That's a good thing. But on the other hand, you got an awful lot of stuff. It's really nice, but it's like, I'm not sure I needed quite so many things, you know. And there's a lot of bowls, plastic forks, plastic spoons as well, and plastic cups. So something to think about. But I think it's not really. I imagine that's quite common all races in most races in North America. I'm not picking out this race in particular, but it's definitely something we noticed.
Anything else, or shall I go into the quickfire?
Okay, I think that was most of the things. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
What was your favourite food from a checkpoint?
I'm gonna go with quesadillas.
Quesadillas. Best music at a checkpoint? Yeah,
definitely the first crew point, which was the 4th checkpoint. Came in and they were playing Layla and then Dire Straits. That was awesome. I was like, you've got the British music on for me, and they laughed. There was some Euro dance at Dutchman's Peak.
Yeah, that was pumping out at midnight.
Well, yeah, because you zigzag up there and there's nothing around it. They had a turn before the checkpoint. They had these huge speakers just pointing down the hill as the runners were coming up.
Best bit of kit from the day and the night?
You mean that I used?
Yes, yeah.
I would probably say my Lecky poles. I got the Superlight, what was they called? FX1s?
Something,
The FX1 Superlights.
Did you see any palm trees?
No, not at all. It's kind of, I understand it's the transition. You're starting in the mountains and you're finishing on the plain. But no, I didn't see any palm trees. So it's kind of, we went to a race and we don't really understand why it was called that.
And last question, what's your next race distance?
Oof, I don't know. Could go one of two ways. I think my feet hurting, maybe that lack of conditioning made me think afterwards, I'm not sure this is running 100 miles. My heart rate is still not back down to normal and got a bit of tingling in my big toes still, so you do some damage to yourself on these things. It shouldn't be ignored, but I do love them. And I got through this one relatively easily, so it could go either way. I love 50Ks and marathons just for actually being able to run and attack a course. But you know, it could be 200, it could be 50K, I don't know.
Could be 200.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, on that bombshell, I think we'll cut it there.